Hey, what's your problem? You have business problems? We have business solutions.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
No.
Life is a fight.
It is.
In business, every day is a fight. So, hey,
What's your problem? Thank you, John David Wells, the big voice guy for the show. Check him out at the Wells Report. He's on Facebook. This is the What's Your Problem podcast, where we talk to Middle Tennessee business owners and professionals about the one thing always keeping them up at night, because it always is something. Maybe not keeping you up at night. Maybe it's just, gnawing in the back of your mind. You just never know. But it really is. Life is like that. It's just always something. This is a video and audio podcast. Check us out at whatsyourproblempodcast.com. Pick your poison and let us know how we could be doing things better. And also subscribe, like, share, all that fun stuff. This is the year of 5,000 average downloads per episode, but I think I'm going to change that and 10x it and shoot for 10,000 average downloads because, if I shoot for the moon, I'm happy to land on the roof. And I'm not too far off right now where the roof is, if that makes sense, so might as well shoot higher. I am your host, Jim McCarthy with JimMcCarthyVoiceovers.com, and today, another returning guest, Miss Christi Bowen.
Hi, how are you?
With the golden pipes, the female golden pipes of Christi Bowen voiceover services.
Yes.
I don't often have too many similar professional people that I do with voiceover. I had Joe Lesh on not too long ago, and it's always a joy to sit down and talk with you.
Thank you.
And I just warned you about the new feature. We talked about that before going live, that you chose to go with the Dad Joke Challenge.
Yeah, let's try it.
All right. Dad Joke Challenge. Typically, I give people a choice whether you want to add the Random 5 or the Dad Joke Challenge. The Dad Joke Challenge has been popular. I mean, people are choosing it. So we're going with it. It is brought to you by it'syourshow.co. If you want podcast production similar to this one that you're listening to, let us know. Podcasts are the great new ways to get clip production for your social media. That's the ultimate end goal at the moment. Of course, for the long-form consumption of what you're talking about, that's not bad either. But, I mean, they're great for clips. My goodness. Check us out. it'syourshow.co if you want a podcast like this one. All right, here we go. Dad Joke Challenge. If you laugh, you lose a point, and I gain one. If you don't laugh, I lose a point, and you gain one. And the best thing about it is that we don't keep score.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Joke number 1. And these are more one-liners. So, I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm clean now. I need my cricket sound effect, and I really do. Nothing. You are holding it back.
No,
you gotta look
that's not laugh-worthy. Sorry.
It's totally not laugh-worthy.
No, not that one.
Joke number 2. A guy walks into a bar, and he was disqualified from the limbo contest.
Yeah, that one's not working for me either.
Yeah, these are snoozers. 3.
Okay.
You think swimming with sharks is expensive? Swimming with sharks cost me an arm and a leg. These are your acting chops coming out, I know.
Yeah.
So when two vegans get into an argument, is it still called a beef?
Okay, that one's funny.
That was pretty good.
That one was good. I like that one. Yeah.
This car looks nice, but the muffler seems exhausted.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. I like that one.
I think that
was the 5th one I want to say.
Okay.
I'm going to call it at that because sometimes these can be painful. Well, There you go. The Dad Joke Challenge brought to you by it'syourshow.co.
Now I'll get out all my laughs.
There we go. Bring them out. Fun. Everybody gets guarded. It's okay to laugh. There's no risk in it.
That's true.
So there you go.
Especially since you're not keeping score.
I'm not keeping score. It's just, even I say that I'm keeping score, so subconsciously it feels like the score is being kept in a way, even though it's not.
I know.
If that makes sense.
Oh, of course.
So it's been a while since we sat down to talk.
Yeah.
We've got a class coming up that we're going to be doing together at
Tennessee Voiceover Exchange, the
That's
meetup
right.
group.
The meetup group.
Yeah.
And your own personal, your class, you're doing your training series and stuff like that with
Tennessee Voiceover Studios,
That's
which
right.
I founded about a year. It's been about a year and a half, maybe, since we've been open.
right.
Yeah.
And how's it going?
It's going okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going okay. It's slow. I mean, we are only a year and a half old, and, it's taking a while for people to find us, but they are. And yeah, we just had a really great weekend workshop. Our first one, actually, this past weekend. We had Andy Arndt, who is an Audie Award-winning narrator from, she's now in Michigan, but she's an amazing audiobook narrator, and she came into town, and we had a wonderful class that went very, very well, and it was wonderful. It was great
Nice.
to hear all the talented folks, and yeah, it was a good class. We had people, 3 of the 5 people came from out of town.
Right.
Came all the way into Nashville for the weekend so they could have a chance to study with Andy and enjoy Nashville and everything else. So
How many people can you typically have in a class at once?
anywhere from 10 to 12 fit comfortably without too much, being too hemmed in.
Right.
We typically get around 5 to 7, sometimes a little less than that. Depends on what class it is.
It's so funny when you listen to Christi, the articulation, even in your everyday conversational approach, is so sharp, because you're constantly practicing, right? I mean, for me, I mush words together, except
I don't
when I'm
even
reading
think
copy.
about it.
Yeah.
It's funny because to me, it's unconscious.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times if I mush a word or two for my e-learning, for instance, because I do a ton of e-learning, I will actually have clients come back to me and say, this sounded a little mushy. Can you, fix this?
Right.
And I'm thinking, yeah, that's not mushy, but okay, if you're requesting it, you're the client, I will be happy to fix it. So sometimes I think the over-articulation gets annoying to me sometimes because I'm not trying to do it, but it just happens. And then, when you have clients who are wanting that, and then there are the whole bunch of the clients that don't want that at all. They're like, can you just dirty it up a little bit?
Is that what that's called? Dirtying it up.
I've had a couple of different clients say that.
Oh, really?
Just dirty it up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Mush
all right.
it together.
Yeah, make it messy.
Throw it in the roux.
Yeah.
We're making some goulash.
Yeah, I love
Voiceover
the
goulash.
one client years ago said, can you just go drink a couple of glasses of wine and then come back and record it? I'm like,
Sure.
can I write off the bottle of wine on taxes? It was a client said to go buy it and
Send it
drink
to me in an email. This way I have
Exactly.
the documentation.
Oh, it wasn't an email. So yes, yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, I'm like, okay, let's try that sometime. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, just get a little more mush mouth,
I had one guy correct the way I say golf. Because I would say, come down to the golf course.
Yeah.
And he's like, you gotta take that differently. Okay, what, golf?
Yeah. Golf.
This is golf.
Yeah.
That and news.
Yeah. There are just words that sometimes, we say just because we've said them and amalgam of all of the places we've lived and the people we've been around that we say them a certain way that other people are like, that's not working for me and you have to change them. I mean, it is what it is.
I found a new Bane word that I have. I
okay.
discovered that. How many Bane words do you have? A Bane word is something that we hate to say, a word. For me, in the longest time, it's been regularly.
Yes, I was going to say that was where I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
It's funny because every time I have to say regularly and I get it, I always think, I wonder how many people are tripping up on that one because I'm not doing it. And then I'm like, and then of course I immediately trip up on it the next time. So yeah. I'm trying to think, there was a word recently and it was a very simple word and I kept messing it up and I was thinking, really, this is the word you're tripping over. Everything else was easy, but that one was the one word, I do medical, so sometimes those words will get me.
When is not a good time to go into the booth and record is after you've done strenuous, hard physical labor all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your breathing's not with it.
Oh,
It's just like,
your diaphragm is completely tensed up and everything. I had to do that yesterday.
oof,
Yeah.
that's rough.
I was putting up a gazebo in our backyard, getting up and down ladders with my out of shape butt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got to read. I got to go record. So I get in there. It was about 20 minutes of recording. Not too bad. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
So
it's
my
not easy.
new word is alternatively.
Ooh,
That one
alternatively.
is just
Yeah.
eating my lunch as of late. Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of any of the words that frustrate me, and nothing's coming to mind, really.
well, with a lot of e-learning. And for those of you who don't know, e-learning is like anything that you listen to, like a corporate video, things of that nature, right?
It's a little different. E-learning is internal corporate training.
Right.
Normally,
Okay.
it's got steps to it. It's like a glorified PowerPoint, that you have to go through, and it's, click next to continue, and you have to
Right.
do things. Normally, there's a quiz at the end. You must receive 80% or more on this test to pass the course. That kind of thing.
It's the
Yes.
the ship will self-destruct
Yes.
in T-5 minutes.
Exactly, because it's just normally it's about behavior change. So it's whether, hey, we have a new computer system and you have to learn how to use it. You don't do this anymore. You push this button instead, or it's OSHA
Yeah.
laws. It's like don't slip, trip, and fall when you're at work and blah 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 blah.
Those
So-
are fun scripts to read.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. I do a lot of work for Deloitte, so accounting is always an interesting one. Oh boy,
You get to
them
talk
it
about
is.
debits and credits.
All sorts of internal stuff. It's crazy. It's accounting, and it's not accounting 101. We're deep in the weeds with accounting. It's interesting, but I learn a lot. I mean, e-learning is fascinating because I do learn a lot from e-learning.
You really do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's effective if you're actually taking something from it, right?
Absolutely. I keep thinking I'd be heck at Trivial Pursuit. Bring it on.
What do you want to get into? Like over the next 5 years, what's a goal of yours?
To do more political. I love political work, and I've been doing some, but I want to increase that a lot. And I'd love to do more automotive.
Okay, so Benton Nissan.
Yeah.
Bruce Bennett Nissan.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things.
I love those things. I
Yeah.
love selling cars.
Do you?
I do. I love selling. I love cars, so I like selling cars. But I like it. I like the steady work, and I like
Yeah.
all the different things they've got going on, and the creative, because car spots can sometimes be really creative and fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're formulaic, but everything can be that way.
Well, I find it like it blasts everything out when I do them because all the
Yeah.
car spots that I do are like,
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Vasser Toyota.
Yeah.
That
Mine
kind of
are
thing.
normally a lot calmer than that.
Right.
Sometimes I had one dealer I was doing for a while that had a BMW, Mercedes, and Buick GMC. So I got to do the nice voice,
Right.
Come to our dealer.
BMW.
Yes, BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
There you
Yeah,
go.
those kinds of things. And so I liked that. I mean, I like doing that, but I like doing all of it. It's a lot of fun. But those
Well,
are the things I'd like to do more and have a lot of really good, stable clients.
Right. Right.
So.
Do you do your own production and everything? Are you able?
Nope.
No.
Record and send. Let them do all that. I much prefer that.
What about speccing? Like, we always talk about the spec technique that I kind of preach
Yeah.
is being able to produce all your own stuff. Hey, if I want to be the voice of Lexus here locally or whatever, or wherever you happen to land, one of the
Yeah.
marketing techniques I teach to a lot of my students is listen to the radio.
Yeah.
All right. First off, find the product that you like, know, and love, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then if they have kind of this, station voice, that voiced the tag or whatever, and you think you can do a better job, then have at it.
Yeah.
Man. Write some copy and
That's a good way to do it. I actually have reached out to the Lexus dealer because I own a Lexus and I love my Lexus, and
Right.
I actually know the guy who owns it. So I was like, hey, let me do your phone systems at least. Let's
Yeah.
start there. And they've bantered around with it, but then we'll see. Still pursuing that.
right. Because he does radio every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then.
Yeah.
I kind of was starting small. I'm like, let's start with your phone systems.
Yeah.
Let's start there, and then
You
let's
understand? I want to
move
be the
on.
voice of your dealership.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to do it.
I mean, I do with the Mercedes dealerships by the airport, dealership by the airport, and now the Ferrari dealership, which is fun, which I can put on my, prancing horse of Nashville,
Love it.
Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Yeah.
I try to
Great.
do my John Hamm impression.
I love the fact that Mercedes-Benz dealerships are now all located next to airports
Yeah.
for a specific reason. You park your car, you get your service while you go on a trip, and then you come back and they pick you up. I'm like, that's just freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, hats off to Mercedes for that. When I
Yeah.
read that they were doing that, I was like, yeah, that's solving a business problem.
That is. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the Lexus dealership is definitely, I tried to hit them up back in the day. And that spec spot is on YouTube somewhere.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But probably not nearly as well as you'll be able to do.
Well, you never know. We just have a different sound, and
We do.
that's okay. They could use both of us. They can alternate.
That's right. The male line and the female line.
Yeah.
There's now you always didn't do voiceover. You got into it through television and video production and just kind of trying it out.
Well, I got into it through radio in college.
Right.
So we had a 100,000 watt commercial FM station.
Right.
And so it reached all of North Florida and Georgia, South Georgia and everything else. It was a huge station. And we wrote I didn't like being a DJ as much as I thought I would, but I fell in love with working in the production department and, producing and writing and voicing the spots. And then once I graduated college, I moved up here to Nashville and worked at a cable company and did the same thing, just added video to it because I worked in the production department where we, went out and wrote the spots sometimes the clients would write the spots. We would make them better.
Right. Yeah.
And then, I would record those. I would record the voiceovers for that, but we would also go out on location and film them and everything else. So, and then I kind of veered away from that part of it a little bit and just got into straight production. Did a couple of Hollywood features, did a whole bunch of different positions within film and video production. Was a producer. I was a script supervisor, a first AD, a creative producer, a little bit of everything. Did a lot of production and did a lot of, video and film and that kind of thing. And then I started to do a little more voiceover on the project I was working on for, 11 years. I worked for a company and we were doing spots all the time. I started doing a little more voiceover for those. And then as that contract was ending, it was kind of like, I don't think I want to do the producer life anymore. I have a kid and 14-hour days on set are not my thing anymore. I think I kind of want to have a little more, stable, life, So I thought, let's get into voiceover instead. And
stability written all over it.
Yeah, of course. And it was funny, actually, the day I was being told what my last day at the company was going to be, because, again, our contract was ending, so we all knew it was coming.
Right.
As my boss was telling me, okay, this is your last day, your last day will be November 30th. This was sometime back in September of that year, and I'm sitting there listening to him, and my computer's screen is over here, and I can he's here, and I'm seeing it's dinging, my little email chime is going off, and I kind of glance at it every now and then, and I had gotten 3 voiceover jobs while he was telling me I was being laid off, and I kind of was like, that door closed and this one is opening.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go for that. And December 1st of that year, I went to work and doing voiceover and haven't looked back.
In those meetings, do you kind of go, okay, are you done? Because I gotta get to this.
I have to record 3 things. Goodbye. Yeah.
Let's not waste any more of your breath, okay?
Yeah, no, it was great because I did have a couple months to wind up what I was working on, and I knew, and so I started to kind of ramp up my auditioning and all sorts of things to make sure that I was going to be able to launch my business by December 1st, and I did, and it worked great.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of happened.
Do you feel like you get a lot of gigs out of auditions, or is it mostly relationships, word of mouth?
A little bit of both, honestly. It's a little bit of both. I have a lot of steady clients that I've been working with now for years. In fact, I recorded for my 4 biggest clients that I get tons of work for this morning, because I wake up and there's stuff in my inbox, and it's like, okay, let's go. I do those every day and more, and it just keeps happening. And so
you don't wake up out of bed and jump into the booth, do you?
No.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I have a couple of times I've done that because either my alarm didn't go off or I, was like, I'm going to eat breakfast and then get in there and I'm still in my pajamas and I'm recording.
Yeah.
And this morning I recorded everything in my pajamas before I went to take a shower, but because I can. I'm at home. No one sees me.
For me, every time I get up, it's the grogginess you got to get past. I might be able to record a good movie trailer voiceover in that time, but it'll sound nasally and stuffy and everything.
Right.
I got to have my coffee. I got to get some food in me, and I have to brush my teeth.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to brush your teeth. Yeah. That's just, otherwise it's like gross.
It's just like Elmer's glue in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, post-nasal drip doesn't help. That's so sexy.
That's true. Yeah, you have to kind of be ready to go. I mean, I walk around doing lip trills and, kind of warming up my voice and doing, tongue twisters and that kind of thing. I mean, I have a whole warm-up routine I do. I normally do it in the shower because I can save time. I can do 2 things at once, but also...
And you got the warm water that's
the warm water that's
helping
kind of open everything up, which is also a great time to do it. But, sometimes if I don't have a chance to do that yet and I've got to get something off because, okay, these auditions are due by 9 a.m. and, here it is 8:15. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to get in there and do them and do my best and hope for the best, and I do. So, it just depends. But yeah, I have a lot of steady clients, and so that's where most of my everyday work comes from. But I also do auditions every day. Sometimes I'll do up to 10. Sometimes I do 1. It just depends on what mood I'm in, how much time I have, and, what comes my way. Because if it's something that works, great. If it's something that I'm not really sure is me, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather not do it and not create a bad impression than really stretch for something that is just completely outside my wheelhouse, that is just going to make me too nervous.
Yeah.
If it's just something that I know I wouldn't be able to pull off.
Now, a lot of people getting into the business don't have that luxury.
True.
For them, it's just, I know a lot of them that just stay in there, if they're able to do it full time, that's all they do. Probably 85% of the time is audition based on whatever's coming off these pay-to-play sites.
Absolutely.
I'm not a part of them. I have nothing against them.
Yeah.
And if that works for you, for anybody getting into it, you and I come across a lot of people that want to get into voiceover.
Absolutely, especially with this training school.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to get into it. I get this line all the time. I've been told, can you finish it?
I have a great voice and I should do voiceover.
Yeah.
Yes.
Having a good voice is about 10% of
10% of the game. Yeah, absolutely. It's not about that because anybody, I have a student right now. It's a woman who's, I don't know, she's got kids and everything. She's not young, but she's not older, and she has a very high voice naturally. And she can do great kids' voices and everything else. But if you just met her on the street, you probably wouldn't say to her, you should do voiceover, because you're probably thinking, she has a really high voice for somebody that old. She sounds more like a
niche.
kid.
Yeah.
But people, it doesn't really matter what you sound like. It's how you use the instrument. I can say, hey, I own a guitar. Yeah, and?
I was always told I should play it.
Yeah, I was always told I should play it. Well, have you taken lessons? Are you really interested in playing guitar? What do you want to do once you learn to play it? Is it just for family and friends? Or is it that I want to actually make money off of this, but not just make money? I want to create art. I want to create something for other people to enjoy, because that's what voiceover is. It's actually not voiceover, it's voice acting.
It is.
And you have to understand the acting part of it. If you are, now, voiceover is a lot easier to do the I want to be in my booth, I don't want to be on stage in front of people thing, because that would be me. I don't like being on stage or on camera or anything very much, but, I still want to do the acting part of it. So voiceover is great for that, but you have to know that it's acting. You have to know that there's characters to it. You have to understand that there is a lot of script interpretation. What does this mean? Who's my audience? Why am I talking to them? And it has nothing to do with how you sound.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with what you're feeling. And that's the thing I work on at the studios, at Tennessee Voiceover Studios, is training people to do that, because that's the hard part. They walk in the door going, hey, I've been told I have a great voice. Okay, now how do we use that voice? Let's figure out what to do with it from there. You have to really want to use your voice in a different way, and not because it sounds great, but what is the message you want to share?
Now, is the first session or two with somebody who, quote, has been told they have a good voice, is that more of an audition for you? If they have a good voice, and there's a little bit of everything you're talking about, I call it the ham factor. How much of a ham can you be with this voice?
Right.
That's the element that really brings it to life.
Yeah.
And one of the methodologies that I use with my students is, let's do a session, let's read some copy, let's see if you're open to being shaped. Can you take direction? Yeah. Can you, and I'll make my determination. I've never really had to tell anybody, this probably isn't going to work for you. Yeah. I don't want to dash their dreams, but look, I could say this would probably take about 20 sessions, for us to get to where we need to be, to get you at least to where I know I can coach a decent demo out of you.
Yeah.
I said the other aspect of having a demo is, everything is that's your autopilot setting at that point, is your demo.
Yeah.
So can you replicate what you have on your demo when someone requests it? To
me, with the demo, somebody's ready to do a demo when and only when, once you have it, what will your coach is always telling you, yeah, loved it. Now let's try something different, because you're able to interpret it right off the bat.
Yeah.
Or maybe with a little tweak. And then your coach throws something else at you. Okay, now do it as a surfer dude, and you can pull that off. That's when you're ready for a demo. But once you have your demo, you're ready to work when somebody says to you, I really liked the X spot on your demo. I want it to sound like that. And if you can instantly feel it and know exactly what that sounds like and what that emotion was that you did in that X spot, then you're ready to work.
Right.
Because if somebody says to me, I want it to sound like the Exxon spot on your demo, I know exactly what that feels like physically in my body. I know what the emotion was. I know what it feels like, all of it, because I knew what that was.
Yeah.
I know what the emotion we were going for in that spot was when we produced the demo. There's that connection, there's that interpretation. I know what the emotions they want to bring out for their spot are. So it's instantaneous, and it takes a long time to get there. But even when you're starting out, if you understand the basics of voice acting,
Yeah.
and if you're constantly being able to replicate it in your coaching sessions, then you're ready for a demo. And it can take people a while.
And one student I'm working with now, I said, unfortunately, a lot of the scripts they're not as well written as the ones that you can pull off the internet. Okay. Those have been written by top-notch Madison Avenue agencies.
Yeah.
They're all well thought out. They're typically a lot of character, a lot of heart in them.
Yeah.
For a lot of the things that you're going to get initially is going to be, you're going to have to polish a turd.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's
mom and pops.
right.
Putting 45 seconds of copy into a 30-second spot.
Precisely.
Yes.
And
yeah.
that's, you want to try and identify the audience, but typically you're playing the role of an announcer.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when you're listening through headphones of where you feel like, okay, does that line feel right? And I talk about word chunks and how to go through, really long sentences by chunking them out. If you're editing yourself, that if a line doesn't feel right, fine, stop and redo it.
Redo it. Yeah, absolutely.
And as long as you're doing the editing, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can make it sound fluid.
Exactly.
So there's an element of having both of those nuances. I get what you're totally what you're saying, and I teach that. Look, you have to identify who you're on, who are we talking to,
yeah, and why,
and but a lot of them go into a lot of new people will go into it, breaking the notion of sounding like you're reading.
Yes.
Is a big challenge, and it's for all of us.
All of us.
All right.
Yeah.
And it's one of the big challenges I had was getting past the suggestive tone and going for more of the affirmative, which is something big that I teach in my classes.
Right.
Is every time you read, every human being I've ever, unless they're formally trained, they have to fight that battle. It's weird.
It's hard because
That's
you don't want to sell.
affirmative.
You want to tell somebody. You don't want to sell somebody is what they always say. And that's hard sometimes, especially depending on what the copy is. If you're getting copy that is very hard sales, whether they want it to be or not, if it's trying to, if it's constantly pushing the product and we'll do this for you and we'll do this for you and it'll do this and it'll do that.
Right.
It's hard to make that sound conversational because a lot of the direction always is sound like you're having coffee with a friend.
Yeah,
but
which
yes,
you don't.
Yeah, I don't sit around and talk about my washing powder choices when I'm having coffee with friends. I'm sorry, it's just not a topic that comes up very often.
Well, Christi, your washing powder is good for whites, colors.
Yes.
And whatever list
and
I
should
think
use
of.
cold water, correct? Is that what you're saying?
And
cold water's the best.
And if you want to get a hold of them, all you got to do is call 623-819-7930.
Exactly.
And that's when you ask me, what's that number again?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting challenge, but that's what makes people make the big bucks when you can understand that and you get past that whole idea of I'm selling something here. I'm having to talk about washing powder when I never would. Instead, it's like you're not talking about washing powder. Yeah. Most of the time, you're probably talking about an ease in your life, a time saver, something that makes your life easier so that you can get back to doing what you want to be doing in life.
Yeah.
So it's more about, thank goodness I found this washing powder because now I can get back to doing everything I really want to do.
Right.
And by the way, girlfriend, let's go we've got to have coffee more often, that kind of thing. And so it's you never know what you're going to get. And, for the local commercials and maybe the regional commercials and things like you said that are maybe not written by, the big, huge, ad agencies, they're going to have a different tone because they only have so much budget. So they want to cram everything they can into one spot because that's all they have the ad buy for, and so it's a very different take. And I try to work with students on all kinds of copy of all kinds because, hopefully you can be auditioning for the bigger things, and maybe booking a couple of those, but you also need to know how to approach a spot that is not written as well as maybe, a national ad.
Yeah.
So, you have to be able to work with what you are probably going to be given. And I also talk about phone copy a lot because, phone systems are a very easy entry for people to get started, even corporate narration. Those are the kinds of things we talk about right off the bat. It's like, let's work on some of this copy because this is stuff that we can definitely work on and know you're probably going to get hired for these things first. You're probably not going to get hired to be the voice of Mercedes-Benz.
Right.
Sorry, John Hamm's got that locked up. Yeah, I don't think you want to fight
Bastard.
John Hamm for that, I know. Yeah. But, there are certain people that, certain jobs and certain industries that you can start working in.
Yeah.
And so finding that training and knowing that those are the jobs to get into. That's really important for a lot of people because they're like, well, I want to book all this stuff. I want to work this and I want to be in a cartoon. Okay, that's great. That's a wonderful goal to have, and I think that's a wonderful thing. Let's start out making you some money first that pays the bills, and then you're going to move into the, getting the opportunities to do the bigger, better things.
Let's pour the foundation.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we talk about a lot. But to go back to the question you asked too about when somebody has a good voice and working with them, most of the time those are people that come to our voiceover 101 class, which is basically just an intro class. It's, here's what voiceover is, here's how you do it. We do get in the booth and that kind of thing for people to kind of take direction. I can test whether they can take direction and how they feel because most of the time for a lot of them it's the very first time they've ever been in front of a microphone. And so it's like, okay, do they get nervous? Are they okay with it? Are they just reading? Is there any kind of performance in there with them? So those are the kinds of things that we try to find out from all that is, what abilities are you going to have? Or is this going to be something that is probably going to take a long time or a relatively, okay time if you put the time and effort into it. And I also tell everybody that this can take months to years.
Oh, good. It's going to take years.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, months to years to even get to the point of a demo.
Yeah.
Because some people don't have the time and the money to be consistent with their training. So if they come to one class like every 2 months, they're not going to keep up that, it's like learning a foreign language. It's like I really need to speak Spanish. I've only got an hour every 2 months to learn it.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
That's going to take a longer time.
Yeah, it takes.
So you have really, really high standards when it comes to people getting to their first demo.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
Because
I guess
I do
mine
not
aren't that high.
Well, I don't want to produce a demo for somebody that isn't going to be able to get them work, or it's just a waste of their time and money. Because I only want to produce a demo for somebody who really is ready for direction, ready to work with a client who says to them, maybe on the third audition they ever do, that says, hey, we heard your stuff. Thank you for sending that email. We really liked your audition. We want to book you. And can we, have a directed session? I don't want the talent freaking out going, what does any of that mean?
Yeah.
I got hired. Yay. What do you mean a directed session? What do I do? How does that work? I don't understand. And then when they calm down and we talk through it, and then they have a directed session. I want them to be able to be presented as a professional, even though it may be their first job. I want them to feel comfortable taking direction, just like I would. Well, yeah, give me another take. Oh, that last line, I want 3 in a row. Go. I want them to understand what that means. Give me an ABC of the last line. If you were new and you're like, you don't want to ask, what does that mean? Because then you sound like you don't sound professional. It's like, so the training all goes into that to the point where I'm going to produce a demo for you that is going to be really good, but you're going to be able to get hired from it. Because otherwise, what's the point? Otherwise, it's a waste of time and money for everyone,
I look at it this way. My first demo was made out of produced stuff that actually aired.
Yeah.
Is that, do you do a lot of what your demo work is based on what you've actually put out there and has been sold?
Yeah, in some ways, yes. I have some demos that are made up of actual work and some demos that are just demos.
Right.
To basically put my best foot forward in different genres. So it depends.
Yeah.
But, and sometimes they're a mix. They can be a mix. And for certain people and for certain types of demos, it's great to mix things with maybe produced work you've got and then things that are, we write specifically for a demo.
Now, there are gurus and coaches out there that will tell you all day long that you should have a demo that is purely produced for you. Don't use any of the stuff you produced for other people. And I'm going, it's worked for me.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of, I think it depends on the genre, and what you're going for. What if it's animation or character, unless you have permission to use it, absolutely it needs to be all, fake stuff. I think sometimes, if you have like a lot of automotive clients, let's go back to that. If you have a lot of clients already, you have a lot of, produced work that's been on air, why wouldn't you put together a demo from that? Look, these are all the dealers I've already got. That's great.
Yeah.
I think if it is something that you're getting into, that you've only done 1 or 2 clients and you don't have a lot of work, you have no choice. But maybe you could sprinkle those in. Maybe you could say, okay, this is one client that I have, but all the rest of it is stuff that I need to have produced because I don't have that style, maybe, or maybe I want to do a different style, but I only getting hired for this particular read. Well, I want to be able to show that I could do other things.
Yeah.
So, you mix it up. So I think it's a blend. I don't think there's any hard and fast rule to it. And I think that's the other problem. People are like, you absolutely have to have. I think when anybody tells you absolutely have to have something, run away.
Yeah.
Other than this one thing.
Right.
Unless you are someone like you who's been in this business for a very, very long time and has the production chops you have, never produce your own demo.
Right.
At least if you're going to produce something, send it out to a couple of people that you trust and say, okay, before I make this live, here's what I've done. What do you think?
And I still do that to this day. I mean, I sent a demo that I had, quote, professionally produced, and not sure if I'll do that again, unless it's maybe try a different methodology of doing it.
Right.
Because even in the actual lead up to the recording of the demo, there was no... And I was specifically looking for, I know I have a lot of time under my belt doing this, but I need an external set of eyes and ears to, what else do I need to be doing?
Right.
And I'm earnestly looking for this. I put my pride and ego is in my pocket. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I know I could get better, Went to this particular person. They everything I read. That sounds good. Okay.
Yeah, that's not coaching. I mean, you can say that sounds good. Now let's try something.
Right.
Let's try something this direction. Or, I liked what you were going for, but I think maybe this is the way to, let's talk about this script a little bit more. Maybe there's a different interpretation needed.
Right.
That because you don't have to be, well, that sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be mean either. I think there are people there are lots of coaches that have lots of different styles. And I think you have to find a coach that works for you.
Right.
Because somebody telling you it's great all the time.
That's not coaching.
That's not coaching. I mean, it's okay to say, I liked that, or, I'm not sure I liked that one as much as the previous take, or let's work on something else. But yeah, and I think for demos, having another set of eyes and ears, because your coach is going to know who you are and what works for you and what your money voice is, and they're going to be able to coach that for you. And if you constantly think, well, I really like doing these, and I think I'm pretty good at them, but yet coach is like, well, maybe, but I think this one's better, actually. I think this is where you're going to get hired more. They're going to push you maybe in that direction, or at least, tell you, hey, try this direction as well, and that way get you out of your comfort zone a little bit and give you more options for work.
Now, when you hear a student that after you coach them for about 5 minutes, maybe on a line or two, when they finally nail it, do you have a physical reaction?
Yes.
I do too.
And
it's kind of like, that's it right there.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. My favorite line is, I got nothing.
Right.
Because normally I come back with, okay, I liked that read. Now here's what we're going to do differently on the next one.
Maybe you just need to coach me. Because I'm kind of like, if I were to get another demo produced, I guess I would go out to Chuck out in L.A.
Yeah.
I can't remember his last name.
Chuck Duran with,
With Rock Sugar. He plays guitar.
Yep.
With Jesse.
Yeah. Demos that rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they still do the podcast?
I think he and Stacy do, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So is he a good, maybe offline we just need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Do it. Maybe we both coach each other. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah. We have, it's funny because I started a pros workout group through the studios.
Okay.
Every Friday at 2 to 3 p.m. Central, we get together and,
virtually.
Virtually, yeah, via Zoom because, the people are all over the place. And it's just a way for pros to get together to, kind of give each other feedback and thoughts, and it's like, hey, let's work on this one, or I've got this audition coming up, I'm gonna read this script and you guys give me some feedback on it.
Right.
It's like, and then it's like, well, I liked your tone, but who were you talking to in that one? I feel like maybe did you choose an audience, did you choose a person? And they're like, well, yeah, I was thinking it was so and so. Well, I don't know.
Not.
Try this person instead. And and then they're like, yeah, that sounds better. And that's kind of what we do for each other as pros, because you don't have to go through the beginning stuff, and that's why it's nice at the studios to be offer things for beginners, intermediate, and pros, because we want to be able to offer valuable content to everybody, no matter where you are in your voiceover journey, because some people can be part-time forever and always want to stay part-time, but yet they are still a quote working pro, because even though they're part-time, maybe they've got a whole bunch of clients that they just constantly work for.
Right.
But they work part-time because they have another full-time job, which they love as well.
And we don't look down on that, man.
No.
Or people that just juggle a lot of different things like me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you can diversify and put yourself into a lot of different areas. Yeah. Maybe voiceover is one part of what you want to do, because also maybe you want to be on stage. Maybe you're an on-camera actor as well. Or maybe you're not even in that business at all. Maybe you pharmaceutical sales rep, but who also happens to really be good at, because you do pharmaceutical, medical narration. Yeah. So you could do that on, your nights and weekends, or whenever you're not on sales calls kind of job,
I've always appreciated about you that you're similar to me in the sense that, hey, whatever works for you, man. I mean, there's definitely a direction that I can coach you on. But if being on some of these websites works for you, okay. Yeah. And there are people out there that specialize in training people how to, hack Fiverr and Upwork and those things. Yeah. And, I know that a lot of the elitists and the people who are the legacy voiceover people, they hate those sites. Yeah. But I always tell them there's no use in arguing, because
it's there. It's not going anywhere. Yeah.
You can't fight this.
Yeah. And let the people who are comfortable and want to do that work.
Right.
Because that's work that would never come to you anyway.
Right.
You're never going to get mom and pop shop who wants a voicemail system to go to William Morris Talent to do, for an audition.
You're going to pay through the nose for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but you have to know where your market is. And I think the thing I always tell everybody, especially in the voiceover 101 class, when we talk about where the work comes from, you have to have a lot of different irons in the fire. It has to come from a lot of different places, because anybody who basically puts all their hope in one area of getting work can be surprised when a big, huge downturn comes. And you don't want to build your business on that. Pay-to-play sites, there's nothing wrong with casting sites. And there are some that have different models than others. And, maybe being in part of all of them is a good thing, because some you don't have to actually pay for, but maybe the opportunities are a little less. Some you do have to pay a lot for to get really great opportunities. So, there's a little bit of everything. See what works for you. So, I'm on a couple of them, but not very many. And then there's also your own marketing, which I will always say is always the best plan, but it is harder. It takes a lot of time. You have to be good at it. You have to be comfortable doing it. But doing your own marketing is really important, I think. And that's definitely probably the biggest spoke in the wheel if you were going to, figure it out. But, there's all sorts of different things you can do to be on different rosters, getting out on production company rosters. So they send you auditions, which hopefully then you book. There's a lot of different ways and avenues of doing this, creating your own work, creating podcasts, doing whatever it is, opening a studio, teaching classes, whatever. Once you get to that point, there's a lot of people branch off and do different things to keep it going and to diversify themselves. Because I think just constantly doing one thing all the time, I think that gets stale. I think your creative juices don't flow. I think you have to kind of push yourself in different areas. And using the skills you bring to your voiceover career from whatever you did before is extremely valuable. Use that talent. If you happen to be maybe you were a salesperson before, using your sales skills to find and build relationships with customers is great. Maybe you were
I should look into that.
You should. Yeah. I think I'm going to make a suggestion here and go out on a limb that, you might be really good at that.
Perhaps.
Have you ever considered? Yeah. But I get a lot of clients that are former teachers and they want to get into e-learning because I do a lot of e-learning coaching. And they're fantastic at it because they're teachers at heart. And basically e-learning is teaching. And so those people are very easy to instruct.
Yeah.
They get it a lot faster.
And it makes sense for them. Congruent.
It does, yeah.
Well, with that being said, we discussed it briefly before going live, but what is the problem, Christi, that you're bringing to the forefront?
I think one of my issues is that I've built this wonderful, school, Tennessee Voiceover Studios, because there was a need. People would ask me a lot, hey, can we get more training? Can we get more classes? Can we bring in people? And I did, and they haven't come as quickly as I thought they might. But we are starting to build. And, we are only a year and a half old. So, things do take time to build and get out there. And we're starting. I have a lot of marketing to do on certain aspects of the business. We also are a studio rental facility for people to come in if they happen to be from out of town, if maybe their booth at home doesn't work because, maybe they've got construction going on outside and they can't record from home and they have a directed session. And we offer Source Connect. It's a rental facility as well. So we're trying to build that part of the business. So I think my problem is just getting out there and finding the time to do all the massive amount of marketing that I have to do to get this going and to let people know that, hey, I have built what you were asking for. So I think that's probably my biggest problem right now. But it's not really a problem. I hate to use that word. It's more of a thing. It's more of a thing in my world.
Yeah. So I would imagine with the Tennessee Voiceover Exchange, which is your thing as well.
Yeah.
Are you still partnered with anybody? Is it all you?
No, right now it's just me because the co-founder has moved out of the area and is no longer active in the group. So it's kind of just me. But I do have wonderful people who help out with it. In the background, I've got a couple people that have always stepped up and say, hey, if you need anything, and we do get together and do stuff, and they help me out with having the meetings happen and everything else.
And you have a lot of people that come out to those events, those meetings?
Yeah. It depends on what the subject matter is and when in the year it happens. But because sometimes in the winter people kind of kick off and they're like, yeah, I'm going to get back into my groove. And other times summer is when more people are available. But anywhere from 10 to 15 people sometimes on a regular basis. But we can have up to 30 people in a class sometime or in one of our sessions.
Yeah.
It's great. It depends on if it's virtual or in person because, we went virtual during that thing that shall not be named.
Right.
But now we're back into doing them in person and they're a lot of fun. It's a chance to get out of the house, get together with the meetup group here in town and, meet other voice professionals of all levels. And we just have a good time hanging out and getting out of our booth. It's our work water cooler moment.
Yeah. And in those moments you're promoting the Tennessee Voiceover Studios.
Yeah, because now all the meetings are taking place at the studios.
Okay.
So we're there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying, hey, coming up next month, we've got these classes. Those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Email list. I see you do have an email campaign.
Yeah, I do have an email campaigns out there and everything else and ask people, anybody who kind of inquires. It's like, can I put you on the email list for different classes and things? And so, I'm working on all that. It's, it takes time and it's a lot of work because it's really just me right now. I'd love to get to the point where I could hire someone to help me with a lot of, that marketing stuff and I'll get there eventually. But, we're working on it.
Monetarily, what does that look like? Where do you need to go to bring somebody on a part or full-time basis? Typically, a number is between $3,000 and $4,000 a month.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. It needs to probably. Yeah, I'd like to be more around $4,000 to $5,000 for that to happen. So we're working on it. It's it takes time. It takes time. But right now, I also know my market as far as things have to be affordable enough to get people there. And then, we are working there. We're working on it.
So it's touching upon a subject in the last episode with Brian Covey that was a similar problem that he had was getting people to understand that the biggest investment you can make is in yourself.
Absolutely.
And it's the challenge is getting people outside of their mindset of spending that money on themselves. they're so reluctant.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how reluctant people are, even with whatever the subject matter may be. It might be, sales or selling or marketing or social media, voiceover training, that kind of thing. Spend the money.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can guarantee you that Christi has got one hell of an operation going on where you're going to learn a lot. Is it a lot of like newbies coming to the classes?
Yeah, I have a lot of people who are brand new to it. Some people that have not. I mean, some people that have been in the meetup group and have been working forever. Come to different classes. Depends on what the class is, and what it's geared towards. But we have a lot of really great people. I've started something called the weekly workouts, and it's 5 sessions in a row, 5 weeks in a row. In person, I do 2 different versions, in person and virtual.
Okay.
And the in person are on Monday nights, and they've got 6 people. So tonight we have a class, and it's limited to 6 people because we want to have time for everybody to do. It's only an hour and a half long, so it's a quick class. But people are learning so much. They're developing their skills. Many people in the class have taken 2 or 3 of these sessions, because it's only $199 for 5 sessions, which is great. I mean, a coaching hour is $175 for most people.
Yeah.
So you get 1 hour at $175, or you get 5 sessions for $199.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful bargain and deal to come to these sessions. We actually had one group of 6 people that came that they kind of created their own little group, and they all hang out together. They constantly talk to each other. They, build each other up. They kind of formed their own little tribe, which is very gratifying to me. That's not something that I now have the, I guess you'd say, additional benefit of, other than knowing that they have this group together. And it's so satisfying to know that they came together, made this group, and are really excited. It's wonderful. It's, they're moving forward in their careers, and it's really fun.
Well, I am listening to you, even though I'm on my phone. I'm Instagramming.
Oh, there you go.
I'm looking for, do you have an account on Instagram?
Yes, it's TN Voiceover Studio, or TNVO Studios on Instagram.
TNVO
Studios, yeah.
So we're going to look at 543 followers.
We're gaining. We've been gaining.
Got some stuff going up 2 hours ago. Good.
Yeah.
Some shots from actual
classes, and I do a lot of marketing.
Testimonials, maybe a little quotable quotes.
Yeah, I've got to get a whole bunch more of those. Actually, I just got a wonderful testimony from a class we did last Thursday on vocal health and performance. And I got a wonderful testimony from one of the participants. Actually,
Nice.
For both participants we only had 2 people in the class. I was a little sad that we only had 2, but it was such a wonderful, intimate class that when we do it next time, I think these testimonies it's just going to balloon, because the people had the 2 students just really had a wonderful time. We had a really amazing class, and those testimonies are coming this week. Yeah, I've got a lot of those that I've got to put up there.
So the bulk offers and things of that nature, you do 5 sessions for however much.
Yeah.
I'm thinking almost, and this is popping into my head as we're discussing this, the Wizard Academy approach. If you look them up, they're what they call a 21st century business school out of Austin, Texas.
Oh, great.
The chancellor, I think he's still the chancellor. His name is Roy H. Williams. Going back to our broadcasting days, you probably heard of him, The Wizard of Ads.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Wrote the trilogy of books, The Wizard of Ads trilogy.
Right.
And he's since opened up a nonprofit, the Wizard Academy in Austin. And they sell courses for business-minded people on how to write ads much better.
Right. That's fantastic.
They package them together where, the price points might seem high, but once you buy a course, you become an alumni.
Oh, nice.
And all alumni get 50% discount.
Nice.
So, I don't know, maybe that's an approach.
That sounds wonderful. And it's also interesting because you have to understand that sometimes once you become an alumni, or you've had experience with a studio or a school or whatever, you kind of get the feeling that you want to keep going. And, I have discounts and things for previous students sometimes. It's like, okay, previous student discount of, blah, blah, blah for this month, or, we got a lot of great classes coming up. So, once you step out and, into the world of whether it's voiceover or anything, frankly, once you kind of get in with a group of people, you're going to kind of find that world is going to constantly give you more content, hopefully, to keep building you up and keep you going, and keep your skills sharp.
Right.
Because I take classes all the time. I have a class coming up I think in next month with a coach that I've been wanting to work with. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I still take classes because you have to, because things change. You know, styles change. I want to try a new genre.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just something new.
And it's like, there's a guy out there that does trailer voiceover coaching. And I'm going, I don't remember the last time I heard a trailer voice.
Yeah.
You know, it's all visuals and just impactful, scenes from the movie, you know, all that crap, you know.
Other than, you know, in theaters Friday.
That's right.
You know, that's it. That's about it.
But maybe that's what he coaches on.
Yeah,
you know,
a little bit, yeah.
There's nothing like, you know, one man.
Yeah.
You know, in a game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that happening anymore.
They're getting back to that.
Are they?
I read an article and I actually posted, I have something, I haven't done it this year yet. I feel terrible, but I have something called the 3 stars of the week in voiceover. It's kind of a marketing thing for the studios.
Yeah.
And it's got 2 reasons behind it. One is the Tennessee Voiceover Studios, the O in TNVO is the O from the Tennessee state flag, which has 3 stars in it. And so that's where the 3 stars come from. We also have the 3 pillars that we like to teach, which is performance, business, and technology. So those are the 3 pillars of, you have to have all 3 of those to really become, a thriving business in voiceover. And then also because I'm a massive hockey fan, go Preds. So at the end of every hockey game, there's always the 3 stars of the game. So I have something called the 3 stars of the week in voiceover. And one of the articles I had in the, in there was about the fact that the movie trailer voice is coming back. Their movie trailer houses are starting to say, you know what? I think we need the voice back. I think we need that storyteller back. And so they're starting to slowly kind of weave that voice back into, and they're starting to use more women, which is even, which has always been such a small pool of talent, very small pool of talent anyway. But now they're starting to kind of open it up.
The movie trailer voiceover talent pool was small always.
Always, yes. But then...
like 5 guys.
Yeah, 5 guys, and then there's like 1 or 2 women that have ever really done it, you know, on a regular basis.
But what does the woman have to sound like? Are they looking for the breathy, sultry read?
Yeah, a little bit. Melissa Disney is one of these women who did it. She was one of the first women to do it. And actually, she said she channeled... Angelina Jolie, because it was a movie that Angelina Jolie was in, and I think it was Gone in 60 Seconds or something like that, Fast and Furious or one of those, whatever it was, and she actually kind of channeled that feeling, and that's what got her hired, and it was a great trailer, and it was so funny. It was that sultry voice,
Have you been watching the? Was it 1883 and now 1923?
Yes.
Those, I gotta say. I mean, it's the character from the first show, 1883, which is narrating 1923.
Yeah.
It is utterly annoying to me. I'm like, what is this disembodied voice? I asked my wife, is that the girl from the last season who died at the end? She goes, yeah. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess she's the matriarch of the whole family, maybe, but I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Did she even have kids? I don't think she did.
No, she died before she could have children.
Right.
So yeah, it's a very interesting tool. I sometimes find it annoying as well, and other times I'm like, okay.
Because you know what the thing is, and I'll be honest here. I feel like her approach and delivery is a nose wrinkle. It's making me.
Yeah.
I
think it's interesting because I did read an article with her when 1883 was out and, before 1923 came along. Yeah. She had to do the narration for a lot of the shows and things before she had ever shot a frame of film.
Oh, wow.
And so she's doing all this stuff and she's like, well, I don't even know really who my character is. It was a fantastic article because she was talking about, my character isn't even fully developed. I haven't even gone through this whole arc of my who I am and all this other stuff. And then she's having to, record all this stuff. And so I could see how that would be very, very challenging as an actor.
I'll give her.
But why they decided to bring her back in the 1923 series is very different. I mean, for the first one, I get it to maybe weave that thread through to say what happened to the people that were in the previous episodes. Yeah. So you kind of get the story. But why she's continuing to do it. It's a very interesting choice. And I love what Taylor Sheridan does because I think these shows are amazeballs.
They are.
They are just truly amazing works of art, because I really truly consider them works of art. But man, that's one of the things I'm like, that's one of the decisions I'm questioning. You know,
I'm going to say that he's also the writer and executive producer for Tulsa King.
Yes.
My question is,
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, I hear it's wonderful.
My question is, does Tulsa King exist in the same universe as Yellowstone? I'm thinking it does.
know.
It feels like
Maybe.
it does. I watch both of those shows. I'm going, why would it not surprise me if all of a sudden they do a crossover?
Yeah, who
You know?
knows? I mean, his worlds are,
They're
very
very
interesting.
close. I mean, you're talking about the rancher mafia is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and Tulsa King is similar in nature with Sly and everything,
Yeah.
and that has the direct connection to the Italian mafia. But
Exactly.
whole
I
other
getcha.
show.
I getcha.
So a lot of the problems that the problem that you have is gaining more recognition, more awareness of what you're doing.
Yeah, just getting the word out, the marketing aspect of things. Marketing is one of those things that is essential to every business. And it's just finding that sweet spot of how to market well enough, and also run my own business that I have as well, that I've spent, years marketing,
I get it.
for my personal voiceover and dealing with the clients I already have, and being able to do that at the same time as run this new business and have the opportunity to be able to do both, and, maybe sleep and eat every now and then.
Yeah.
Find time to do things like shower and get dressed and do your hair.
But that's the grind you're in for when you
It
get
is.
this.
It is. When you decide to run two businesses that are basically you as the business, it takes that. But I think that's the biggest problem I'm having, is figuring out the best way forward to market.
Can you get an
myself.
assistant based on the income you currently have from both businesses?
Possibly. I think I have to really look into that. I think that would be good. Finding someone. I got really lucky, and I had a wonderful, wonderful intern last year who came from MTSU. They have wonderful school there. They have digital media is one of the media arts is one of the majors they have.
Yeah.
And they wanted to have an intern. They wanted to have an internship, and so I found a wonderful. She was fantastic. And I reached
Did you get
out-
hired away, or?
Well, yeah, when she actually graduated.
Right.
And so she's moved back up to where she was from in I think Massachusetts, maybe.
Oh, gosh.
But she moved back home, but she was wonderful. And it was just so great to have her skills and her assistance, and things would be posted, and I'd get these notifications that somebody had commented. I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize I posted anything. What did I post today?
Can she work virtually for you?
She can, but she actually ended up getting another job, so I was really
Doing
happy.
what?
I think doing some, being a full-time person at a marketing company. But I'm working on it. We'll see.
Well, I mean,
how
you
things
ever
land out.
ask her, what will it take for you to come work for me?
Yeah. Well, I didn't have I knew she wanted to move back home.
Yeah.
She and her wife wanted to move back home, so they were ready to go.
Right.
They were doing that. But I don't know. I'm gonna find some way to make this work.
Yeah, and finding the talent is tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, scaling, even though it seems like a risk at the time to pay someone, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, however much their salary is going to be,
Right.
it may be the best thing you ever do.
Yeah,
that's an element of
exactly.
investing in yourself.
It is.
You can't do it all.
Right.
But you're also, and I'll tell you this because this is kind of the way I see you. You're like Middle Tennessee's voiceover mom. I mean, you're the Regina Moore of your category, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to casting directors, you think
Regina.
she's the first one that comes to mind. right?
Absolutely.
When it comes to voiceover, I hear your name come up all the time. That's a
good.
strength,
Thank you.
especially with what you're doing. Do you do the I can't remember what it's called, but basically it's an exercise in Tennessee Voiceover Studios. What are all the things that are monetizable? Right?
Yeah.
You got voiceover coaching. You've got all the little branches off that you can do.
The classes, the demo, the private coaching. We offer resources
Studio
to
rental.
people, studio rental, all of that. Yeah, we're working on all of that. So, yeah, maybe eventually we'll get to some classes that we record, and then they just live on the website for people to pay a fee and download. I mean, that's been suggested, and maybe certain classes and things that are pretty much the same all the time, and that information isn't necessarily going to change, and we can just have little bits and pieces. But yeah, I mean, there are things we can do, and we're working on that. I definitely have a few things when it comes to the studio rental work that I have had up my sleeve for a while, but haven't been able to kind of work on because of schedules and things.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to put something out there to say, hey, come rent the booth when I'm not available to be at the booth, to be at the studio all the time. It's like,
Right.
can't throw open the door and say, hey, come. Oh, wait a minute, we're closed tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to be closed on Friday too. Well, maybe you could come in 2 weeks, because that's just not the way to run a business.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're going to open a restaurant, but we're only open for an hour or two, a couple of times a week. It's like,
Hey.
what's the point?
Joey's House of Pizza did it for a decade. We're only open for lunch.
Well, they
And that
were
was
open
it.
for a few hours, though.
Yeah.
That's different, and they were probably open every day.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Consistency.
You can't be, an hour here, an hour there, an hour 2 weeks from now. You have to be there. So yeah, once that gets going and I'm able to solve a few of those issues, then that all that marketing that I want to do for studio rental is going to be,
I think it'll be game changing for you.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think ultimately bringing you on, we also wanted to talk about the event coming up on the 21st.
Yes, absolutely.
Where I'll be, I guess you and I will be teaching it.
Yeah, well, you're going to be our guest for Tennessee Voiceover Exchanges, which is the meetup group here in town. That
held at your studio.
Yes, and it's held at the studios, and you are going to be our guest for the month of February. We're very excited to have you.
And I feel I've been a part of the group for years now.
Yeah.
But I only attend the classes that I teach.
I know. What's up with that? Come on, man.
I am such a narcissist. My gosh.
Nah, it's the third Tuesday of every month, and sometimes that just becomes a problem for people. I mean, we've had people come in and out because at one point we had to change it to Wednesdays, and more people could come, or then nobody could come on Wednesdays. They could all come on Tuesdays, and so people have standing things in their lives, or it's a Tuesday night and trying to get places, maybe with kids and school and everything else. Sometimes summer is a little more flexible for a lot of people because they don't have to worry about, things going on summer-wise for their kids. So we seem to have an uptick in attendance in summer. But, we really enjoy all the different, people that come. We try to focus on mixing it up between business-related classes, performance classes, technical stuff, and sometimes we combine all three. Like your class is going to be a little bit of combination of all three.
Yeah,
it's learning how to do different
the production
things
end of things.
Yeah, the production end of things. Using video, using your audio skills. Maybe all you do is feel comfortable recording and editing your voice and sending off a dry track. Well, maybe you could branch out and find a few little skills of ways to do things to make it more fun.
You got to become more marketable.
Yeah. Add another tool to your toolkit. That's definitely what we're going to be talking about, and I'm really excited about that class. It's going to be great.
We're going to be using, it's a PC laptop, okay? I don't have a Mac. I've tried to convert over to Premiere and all these other softwares, but Vegas is like, that scene from The Godfather 3 where, Michael Corleone thinks that he's out, but then they bring him back in and he makes that line, once I think I was out, they pull me back in. Vegas does that to me all the time.
There you go.
I'm like, I gotta find a different way and
use
different
what
editing.
works.
I do, but when you have computers that crash, and then a friend of mine came over to start teaching me Premiere.
Yeah.
And he goes, what's wrong with what you have? I'm like, my computer. It's like, the Macs just operate better.
Yeah.
He goes, let me just build you a computer because my computer is a PC and it runs circles around Macs. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that next. I got a new rig up for 2023 that's being created. But you got to go with what you know. But the fundamentals is what I'll be teaching.
Right.
So
whatever you use. I mean, I have a Mac and I use all Macs and everything, but yet I don't have a thing against PCs or a thing definitely for Macs. I think it's whatever works for you.
Yeah.
And whatever format you want to use. Whatever you're comfortable with is the most important thing. It doesn't have to be the latest and greatest, the most expensive thing in the world. I edit on Twisted Wave. Yeah. It's $99. In fact, it was $79 when I bought it.
Is that multi-track?
No.
So it's a Sound Forge, essentially.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But, we record in mono. We have one voice.
Right.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
And I'm not
unless you want to do simulated
stuff.
stereo and offset the tracks and all that fun stuff.
But, it's just for what I do every day. I don't need anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to do every now and then I do have a couple of phone clients that want me to add music and that kind of thing and, dip in and dip out of music. And I'll use Audacity, believe it or not.
Right.
I just, because I haven't needed to do anything else. I mean, I'm probably eventually going to get Pro Tools at the studio and have some
It's
guests.
overkill.
Well, and have some, because we do have some people that we are, that will say, hey, we've got a Pro Tools session. Can you open that up? And we need to match some stuff and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm going to have some, some part-time engineers help me out with that kind of thing. And I've got some other people that are on staff at the studio as far as coaching, and they use Pro Tools all the time. And so, they can come in and run a session for me and that kind of thing. But, that's probably the only reason I would ever even think about Pro Tools again, because for us, for what we do, it is overkill.
Yeah.
But there's, I do know voice actors who, even though they don't really use, maybe 10% of it, they still know it, and that's what they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like I said, use what's comfortable for you.
And it's an industry standard kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
The other one that's coming to mind is the Reaper.
Yeah, Reaper. I hear a lot of people talking about Reaper and how great
recommend
it is.
that.
Yeah, I haven't
low
looked
cost.
at any of them.
I think Reaper is multi-track.
Nice.
But I'll teach based off of Vegas Video Pro. Vegas Pro? What is it called now?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to check it right as we're recording. Vegas Pro is what I know. Is what I've been using since 1990 something.
Wow. Yeah.
And SoundForge is what I record in.
Yeah.
Actually, I record on this thing.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dude. This is a portable studio right here.
Love it.
The Rodecaster Pro.
Yeah.
Check it out. That's a cheap plug. And Rodecaster, you can throw me some free gear or not. I'll be sending this to you. But I highly recommend this product. I actually personally own 3 of them.
Nice.
One goes on. I will be bringing that with me to the class because it's just so much easier to record. I don't record it. I record on this and then transfer it to my laptop.
Nice.
So that's kind of what we'll do with the class.
That sounds great.
So if you want to read some stuff, maybe it's demo material that you'll be able to use, because we'll be creating actual products based on scripts that Christi and I come up with. We'll do some car spots, maybe some jewelry spots, maybe.
Gotta have the bling.
Yeah, we got to do, whatever kind of comes up. Maybe some fun Advil spots. Those are always fun.
Oh, yeah.
And natural conversations where you go into the real nitty gritty details of what Advil can do for you. It was funny with my student. We had an Advil script we were practicing.
Yeah.
And he's like, it started out with sore muscles. Advil is clinically recommended by doctors, but
Yeah.
And he says, what if I'm talking to somebody in the gym about this? I'm like, well, you can have that person in mind. You kind of are talking to somebody with sore muscles.
Yeah.
And it does mention working out.
Right.
I said, but what a funny commercial that would be.
Yeah.
Some dude, he's just rubbing his arms in the locker room, and this guy comes, sore muscles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Advil is blah, 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 and then all of a sudden the guy goes, are they paying you for this?
I know,
and then
exactly.
Just keeps on going with the pitch, right?
Yeah.
That would be a funny commercial in my
That would
mind.
be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to do a spoof on that.
I like that idea.
So how do people
works.
find and follow you, Christi?
Well, for the studios, it's Tennessee Voiceover. Well, the website is tnvoiceoverstudios.com. We are at TNVO Studios on Instagram, and we don't have Twitter, but we are on LinkedIn, Tennessee Voiceover Studios. Me personally, I'm at Christi Bowen VO, pretty much everywhere, both on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, the whole 9 yards. It's Christi Bowen VO or Christi Bowen, and it's CHRISTI BOWEN. Thank you, Mom, for the different spelling. ChristiBowen.com is my website.
Do you have a link tree?
I don't think I do have Linktree. I've heard of it. I just don't have Linktree.
I have it. I need to use it more for myself.
Yeah.
But if people go to the website, they find all your socials, all your connections.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right there.
So there we go. Of course, everything will be in the description, all the links that are pertinent and everything. So seek that out. Christi is tremendous to follow, especially if you want to get into the world of voiceover. Cumulatively between the two of us, 60 combined years of voiceover experience. So,
That's a lot.
sign up for the class. You want to learn everything about the basics of audio production, using video to market your, voiceover business, but why not any other business too? Can't hurt for you to show up. Contact Christi to sign up for the class that's going to be offered on the 21st.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tennessee Voiceover Exchange.
Yeah, thank you so much
Held at
for
the Tennessee
having me.
Voiceover Studio.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Well, right on. Well, that being said, check us out at whatsyourproblempodcast.com. Again, we're going for 10,000 average downloads per episode. Let us know how we can get there. We get there by you sharing it out, by subscribing, telling your friends about it, rating the podcast at a 5-star rating. If you can't give me 5 stars, hit me up and let me know why. And let's see if I can help you get to that threshold of a 5-star rating. Again, what'syourproblempodcast.com. And Christi, always a pleasure to see your
Always a pleasure
beautiful
to see you
face.
as well. Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.